Hey there, and welcome to the Best You Nation. We're excited for you, and we hope that this podcast will help you grow, optimize your 24 hours in a day, and help you live elevated. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
What's up, guys? It is the Best You Nation. I am Adler, and this is Finn.
What's up, guys?
How are you doing, Finn? First and foremost, because I got to check up on you, man.
Listen, Adler, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for checking on me. You've been checking in on me all these last 2 weeks. I've been on quarantine, which leads me to why we missed an episode last week. We had to take a quick break. I was recovering from COVID. Going through some of the symptoms. I wasn't feeling too well. I was in bed, resting. I lost my taste and my smell. It's really funky. It's really weird. So we'll see how long that goes. But I'm back. I'm ready for more. I'm ready for 2020 to just kind of trickle itself away. Get ready for 2021. Yep. I'm pumped to get back into what we do well, what we do best. This podcast.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm happy and I'm excited to see that you're feeling better, man. Because I know for a little bit, you were worried, and it's a good thing that you're back up to speed again.
For sure, man. It really did kind of put me in a place where you just, especially as a healthcare worker, it makes you appreciate your health, taking care of yourself. Obviously, you have 24 hours a day. Optimizing the time that you have. It's not necessarily just going out and working out. It's about optimizing each moment you have. And honestly, through COVID, I was going through and pushing through with that mindset that no matter what, you have to, I have school. I have, some CBLs for work that I was taking care of. So it was just things like that really, at the end of the day, no matter what your circumstance is, I'm thankful and past it. I'm over it. And it will definitely make me a lot more empathetic and understand a lot more, because that's a part that I think with life in general, you will never know what it's like unless you experience it. So though I don't wish this upon anybody, I don't ask anybody to go out there and go find COVID, because it's really not a lot of fun.
No.
But I will say at this very moment, I'm just grateful to be back here with you, Adler, recording and giving what people want to hear.
So yes. So, and we have quite a few things to kind of catch everybody up on. So yes. That was the first thing that I wanted to kind of make it known. I know that we didn't come up with a new episode on Monday, which most of you guys, you called us out on it and you're like, yeah, what's going on? So Finn wasn't feeling so hot, so we decided just to give him an extra week of rest. But now we're back like we never left, and we are ready to continue doing the work that we do here. And first and foremost, there is a No Shave November challenge that my buddy Finn Foster is participating in for the first time in his life. I feel like I'm not sure. If you see that little peach fuzz that's underneath his, like on top of his lip and underneath his chin, yeah, that's his beard. So we're trying to.
It's gonna be something. I promise you, it's gonna be something. But it's called the No Shave November Challenge.
You can't see it.
There it is. There it is.
There it is.
So we're doing this challenge. But Adler, what does the challenge entail? Tell everybody what is going on with this challenge.
You're not shaving your hair, you're shaving your beard. You're not shaving your beard for the whole entire month of November. That's it. It was largely, No Shave November started inspired by men who have had prostate cancer. Just like October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, November is Prostate Awareness Month. And we do that for a lot of men who are cancer survivors. A lot of you guys don't know this, but my dad is a prostate cancer survivor himself. He is a survivor for years now. So, every year, whenever I get a chance to grow out my beard, I do it, in honor of, what he had to battle. So,
absolutely.
It's something that's near and dear to my heart. But I have been doing No Shave November for almost like the better part of like 5-6 years, because now I'm actually able to grow out the hair a little bit better. My buddy Finn, on the other hand, he is joining in for the first time. So I had made a side bet with Mr. Finn, and the bet is I call it the restaurant bet. All right, because I'm the type of person who wants to take your money and hold on to it and then feel bad about it. I'm the type of person that when I win, I want to be able to, like, you pay for my meal and know that I had a good time enjoying watching the meal get fed or get cooked and everything, and enjoying myself in this event, and then knowing that you're paying for everything. So we have a restaurant bet. We don't know which restaurant we're going to go to, but if Finn shaves his beard before the end of November, he will take me to a restaurant of my choosing. Now, this could be Ruth Chris, this could be Kobe's, this could be anywhere. It could be Fogo de Chao. As long as it's my choosing, he's got to cover it. I mean, it's going to suck for him. But if for some reason, if a dead clock is right twice a day, right? If for some reason hell freezes over and Finn finds a way to actually grow out his beard and keep it all the way to the beginning of December, then I will buy him a meal of his choice, any place he wants to go. Ruth Chris, anywhere. No dollar will be spared, all right?
Listen, and I'm going to tell you right now, I am up for the challenge. And I'm going to be honest with you.
Wait, Finn, have you ever done a bet like this before, you and I?
Not directly, a bit indirectly. It wasn't even really a bet. It was more like you just know me very well. And I think this is how this is going to go too, but I'm going to have to be very resilient because you're like 2-0 on this. So based off of the statistics of these situations we've had in the past, I can't hold up to myself. I think the last one, which you called me out a couple episodes ago, was growing out my hair, and I could only last I think I lasted like 27 days. Woo! Listen, I just got my hair cut again today. I mean,
yeah, I know.
I'm hoping that this. I told my barber today. I was like, listen, do not mess with the sideburns. This cannot be touched. But on a serious note though, guys, regardless of the choosing of where we eat or whoever has to pay for that meal, the honest challenge is to grow this out. But the real purpose and meaning of this whole challenge is to support the cause of the whole idea of to support not support prostate cancer, but support survivors, and also just to ultimately go out there and look rugged in honor to these people who are going through it and who are experiencing it, who have overcome it, like Adler's dad. So it's really, even though, yes, it's a fun little challenge we're going to do for the month of November, we honestly do see this as an opportunity to stand for the cause. And I think that's really the most important thing. Yeah. But we'll see. I'm hoping that I can do it. I think I can. I think the longest that I've grown my beard out where the hair was already hitting over my lips. And I will say it gets really awkward when you start drinking like milk, or you start drinking beverages that are going to require you to have a bit of a foam here. Milk does it. It sucks. It also gets really annoying when you sleep because all the little prickly things get around your lips and you're like, argh. So we will see.
Yeah.
I think I can do it. I think I can.
Finn sounds like he's going to cut it tomorrow.
No, I don't think so. But what do we, with all this going on right now, what else we got going on with the podcast? Is there anything else that we missed that we didn't update our peeps on? We have our shirts in the making. I know that. We have some shirts in the making for our winners. We did announce that. We did announce that on our social media page. What else? We're just happy to be back. I mean, I'm happy to be back here, Adler. Obviously a lot of people are tired of 2020 and are ready for 2021. I think looking at this year, looking at the election, looking at COVID, looking at everything that's happened this year, I think people are just tired and ready for a new step. I'm going to be honest with you, it has been tough to watch so many people suffer and go through their own personal turmoil on top of our nation's turmoil, the turmoil along the social injustice between people of religion, of color, all of that, everything, right? So what we want to do is, and what we've been talking about all year, is we're trying to build people up to become the best version of themselves. And I think that in this season, we ultimately are going to utilize our own personal walks. We have some guests that are going to be coming on later on in the season, and we're going to be taking it away because we want to prepare people. We want to prepare our fam for 2021. This year has been really just a hot mess express, and we don't want people to go into 2021 with that mindset. We want people to become clear. We want to have that direction, and we want people to see the clearest vision that they have for next year. And so in order to do that, we really have to kind of prepare now. You can't build a house until you've prepared a foundation, and that's kind of what we're doing here with season 4. So, which brings to the final point. What are we doing today? What are we talking about? What is today's return topic of the season all about? What are we going to be talking about?
It all comes full circle, and I like to just point out, when you were talking about growing out your facial hair and stuff, you said, "I hope," and we'll see, and today we're talking about something called Cybernetics, right? And Cybernetics, it's just a huge fancy term that basically means it's like steering your mind into a productive, useful goal. Cybernetics. It's just a fancy term just to steer your mind to accomplishing your goal. It was created by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, and he, if I'm not mistaken, he was a plastic surgeon.
Plastic surgeon.
Yes, plastic surgeon. And so he would have like these clients that would, have plastic surgery, either get a nose done or, chin done or whatever the case may be. But then they would still view themselves as, ugly or less than or whatever the case may be, even though he did surgery on them. So he was prompted to research the why, the reason why people think the way that they think. And so that's where he was able to develop the study of Cybernetics. And Cybernetics, the most important thing that you got to know about that is that it's all about your self-image. So as long as whatever you put between your ears, right? And how you view yourself and how you think of yourself, that's usually how you're going to maintain that image, especially in Cybernetics. So Cybernetics is just another fancy term where you use the power of imagination and thought to sit down, imagine what your goal is, what you're trying to accomplish, and you visualize it, you see it. You visualize it so much and you practice it so much that when you're actually in the event, it becomes muscle memory because you're so used to envisioning and seeing it so much that you can taste it, that you can feel it. And it's actually a pretty good book. It's on Amazon for those of you guys who want to take a read. It's like $7-8, but it's actually a very stellar read if you guys get a chance.
And actually, Adler, while we're touching on this, I meant to do that. I meant to purchase that book. So I will definitely need to go and get that book. And I will definitely leave a review on our story, on our social media platforms to let people know kind of what I feel or what I feel like the book has got to offer. But, today we're really kind of tapping into a conversation. We talked about law of attraction on our last episode, right?
Yeah.
Which was a hit. A lot of people love that one because it's something that not everybody's aware of. I mean, we do it every single day. But there's something I want to tag along onto what you're saying. That's kind of gonna help build onto this conversation today, and it is a word that is relatable or it's contributing to what we're talking about with the Cybernetics. It's called servo mechanism. And servo mechanism is basically, the definition term here is a powered mechanism producing motion or forces at a higher level of energy than the input level. For example, large motor vehicles, especially where feedback is employed to make the control automatic. So an example that Maxwell actually uses in his book, hold on, oh boy, I needed that website. Darn. All right, well, I lost the name of the website that I was using to kind of go based off my notes, but that's okay. Basically, servo mechanism basically kind of gives us the concept of understanding the steership that we have as individuals. For example, when you think about a massive ship and a small little rudder, right? A small little rudder that is steering this ship. You got to imagine that you have this massive mechanical machine being steered by this small little thing. Our thoughts are, or sorry, I should say, well, actually, yes. Excuse me. That little steering, the little rudder in our thoughts and our motivations and our subconscious, that's what determines how that ship moves. It's amazing when you think about our ideas, our goals, our aspirations are like this massive ship. That little steering, the little rudder that we depend on to shift that ship to go left or to go right, it's amazing. That is exactly how we are with our thoughts using the cybernetics. It's setting yourself up with a mindset, subconsciously imagining yourself in a place where you can steer these big thoughts, these big ideas, these aspirations that we have. Because why don't we sometimes accomplish things? Because we create this, oh, they're too big. Like cutting my hair. I set this goal that I was going to grow my hair out for 6 months. Doesn't seem like a big deal. It doesn't sound like a big deal.
Not at all.
But I only made it to 27 days because I already allowed my rudder to do this. I programmed myself, I can't grow my hair out. I can't do this. I'm a pretty determined person. This kind of contradicts this whole statement I'm about to say, but when it came down to my hair, I was not as determined. But that kind of brings me to my next point. I think we each, it's something that you always say, actually. It's our, what is it? Energy is like currency. What you invest yourself into, that's where you're going to find the greatest success. So I'm not saying that wherever that rudder turns that ship, or the rudder in our mind and our subconscious that determines and dictates our direction of success is a bad or a good thing. I just think that a lot of times we don't give ourselves that benefit that growing out your hair is not an important factor. Okay, it's just growing out hair. But it's the simple point, that the simple things in our lives that we sometimes steer our rudder to turn our ship is dictated by the outside forces that are making us decide whether or not we're going to move or not. So Adler, with Cybernetics, how can people, as an example, you went through a season in your life, and I always bring this up and we've talked about this, but when it comes down to working out, I know a lot of people are looking to set one of their resolutions this year, going to 2021, is to probably lose a little bit of that quarantine weight that we've had from COVID-19. They're thinking about maybe purchasing a car, maybe purchasing a home, whatever the case may be. How can Cybernetics be a more accessible way for people to begin changing their mindset in that form that Maxwell talks about?
So the first thing is like, because I know, like, you know, the first thing most people might think is like, oh, okay, well, psycho-cybernetics doesn't make any sense, but it's basically envisioning what your goal is, what your accomplishment is, harnessing and holding on to it, and not allowing anything to deter you or to turn you away from it. So the first thing I like, especially if you wanted to try psycho-cybernetics, I would recommend that you clear your mind and you just find time to just sit there and visualize whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Because through visualization, you develop the muscle memory, that you need in order to become successful. So for Finn, if he ever decides to grow out his hair again, he needs to envision, why am I doing this?
Okay. Well, I don't have a very clear why.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's not the most important thing. I mean, for me, I think can I give you an example of what I would like to see happen in 2021?
Sure.
I would like to have more than half of my classes for my prereqs done by the end of the year of 2021. And I will say, school is great. I'm going to be honest, online experience has been very, very challenging. It definitely takes away from a lot of the interaction and experience you have with other students and the teacher and the learning environment. How could I utilize psycho-cybernetics in that form of the education for myself?
So what I would suggest to do is you got to sit down at your chair, your desk, and then envision yourself taking your classes. Not only taking your classes, but envision yourself studying for it. Envision yourself imagine, be very detailed when you're doing it. Imagine, what you're wearing, what your smell is like, what type of day it is, what type of time of day it is. And you want to be as descriptive as possible and paint a very vivid mental picture. And just constantly every day, like maybe 2 times a day, once in the morning when you wake up and once before you go to bed. Envision each goal, how you want to accomplish it. And you should take about 10 minutes or so to do it. And after you take that time to do so, go to sleep. The next day, do it all over again and continuously do it. And whenever whenever you're in class, obviously focus and make sure that along with the mental picturing, you also are actively studying and reading, and you're making sure that you're doing everything that you need to do. And you'll find that it's like, oh, okay, I've accomplished my goal. I've made this goal and I've been focusing on it for, quite some time, and you'll find a way to accomplish it. That's the same thing I do when I go to the gym and I work out. I envision what type of workout it is and what type of goals I'm looking for. And then after I envision it, then, I imagine myself going through the routine and I keep thinking about everything. And then I eventually go inside, work on the gym. And, after I finish doing my work, get something to eat, and then do the same thing again the next day, repeat.
That's a great one, man. That's a great mindset, because I think that a lot of people need that motivation, especially when it comes down to working out, when it comes down to setting goals financially, relationships, or whatever the case may be. A lot of times we find ourselves, we get frustrated. And I think the combination between the law of attraction and having this mindset where you create this subconscious, it's kind of like a pendulum. It's boom, 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 boom. And you create this thought or this subconscious, it's like you said, muscle memory. You said that a little bit earlier. It's just creating that consistency. And eventually it's kind of like, for me, it's like a lot of times, with saving money is not always easy for everybody. I'm going to be honest. It took me several years to kind of get my mind in a place where I'm like, saving is pretty important. I'm not saying that I've never saved. It's just how to save and how to invest and still save, right? It's one of those things that I kind of forgot that I had a bank account, right? That all my money was going into. And why? Because I programmed myself to say that this isn't there. This isn't there. And eventually I just kind of forgot that it was there. To be honest, I checked it the other day. I'm like, boom. And this has been over the last year. And I'm like, mind blown. So the point is, I guess, for me and in my own personal experiences, and I appreciate you giving me that advice for school. I think it's not that it's, I'm not overwhelmed. I just think sometimes when you have to adapt or change your experience, your environment or your experiences, We easily can get frustrated with that situation just because we're having to learn to, like, again, reroute that ship, or reroute that thought processes that we have. Now, Adler, I tend to ask a lot of questions, and I like to, because I like to learn too. Even though we're podcast hosts, I think there's still an opportunity for us all to learn. Going into 2021, looking at this year and looking at what we've experienced as a country, maybe individually, as a family, as brothers and sisters, just friends, whatever the case may be. How would you explain to somebody going into 2021, maybe not having high-strung motivation right now? How would you encourage them with the Psycho-Cybernetics mindset? Getting the book would be obviously step one, but what would be a takeaway from today that would give people leeway to prepare, with their success? Because everybody's level of success is not the same. I mean, you and I both view success very similarly. We both can agree that failure is not a byproduct. Failure is actually a partnership with success. You have to fail to know what success is, and failure disciplines.
Failure is probably one of the best mentors that you'll ever have, just because it teaches you everything that you need to learn.
Yeah,
for
sure.
To be successful.
So, with that being said, what would you say to somebody to encourage them who's listening to this right now? You are going to be fine, right? Like, that sounds great. But how could you say encouraging somebody using the I want to keep saying cyber security. I don't know why, but the Psycho-Cybernetics, how can somebody today walk away from listening to us, apply that to their daily life in the best way possible?
Well, I mean, the first things first is you have to come up with a clear-cut goal. Once you come up with the clear-cut goal, you have to really, really mentally picture it, visualize it, and be as descriptive as possible. And the reason why you want to be as descriptive as possible, because the details, attention in the details is where success lies. So if you are not as detail oriented, you may not be as successful in your pursuit of that goal. But if you're as detailed as possible, where you're just like, all right, the sky was blue with a couple clouds. It was 72 degrees. It felt nice. It was wonderful. There was some birds chirping in the background. I had my favorite shirt on. These are different type of describers that you have to add on to it in order to help develop a clear mental picture. And once you've made that clear mental picture, your world is your oyster.
Which is fantastic. I think that is a way for people to understand. And that it tickles my thought to ask you this, because some may question, what is the difference between the law of attraction and Psycho-Cybernetics? What is the difference between the two? Because I'm sure when I first heard that, I was thinking we're just going to basically talk about two topics that are two different types of, it's the same soup but a different bowl, but it's not. For anybody who's listening and wanting to know, how would you define or differentiate between the law of attraction and the Psycho-Cybernetics, if I can say it right?
Okay, so law of attraction is basically aligning all your actions to support, aligning all your actions in you're allowing the positive thoughts, process, work, everything that goes into it to all just encompasses itself, and that allows you to maintain a positive mindset and also to try to accomplish your goal in a positive manner.
So that you would say that the law of attraction is a bit more like a verbal, like it's like the accountability to what you have up here by putting it out, speaking out, thinking out, and all those other different things. It's more of an action.
Yeah, so it's more of an action. And you can be passive with it, or you can, be active with it. Psycho-cybernetics is that mental image. The mental image, that picture that you envision in your head. It's a way of trying to manifest it, that mental picture, and to turn it as an external picture of what you saw. Now the whole entire world or everybody else around you can see as well. And
it's a very fine line. I mean, they seem very similar. That's what I was asking. They're very close to each other. I mean, I feel like they both need each other.
Yeah, they're pretty much in the same guideline. The only difference is, like, Maxwell Maltz. I think they had talked about certain athletes. Read the Psycho-Cybernetics book, and a lot of golfers, martial artists, boxers, they do that type of training, Psycho-Cybernetics, because it's not as physically taxing, and it allows them to just mentally get themselves prepared for whatever their event is. Like there was an episode about, or not an episode, a chapter about a golfer who he struggled with putting, and he envisioned making his putt when it counted most during I don't know if it was like a Masters or which event it was, but he envisioned the ball going slightly up at a curve on a hill, going through the tall grass, and then eventually making his way down, and then hitting inside the hole. And he had that whole entire process done, and he was able to win his whole entire event. And obviously he worked hard, but he also envisioned himself, and he kept his mind sharp, just constantly training his mind to think, all right, I'm ready for this. And even like, you have certain boxers and martial artists, the reason why this type of training is so successful with them is that it's not as physically taxing. So you can envision yourself, as a boxer, you can envision yourself, throwing a jab, hook, cross, and then like undercut, and then envision yourself like, all right, I just hit my combo, and now it's time for the knockout punch. And then you get yourself ready and just pop, get that knockout punch. Before you even step foot in the ring, you already envision how you're going to end it and how it's going to happen. Just a couple weeks ago, there is a guy named Magomedov. He just won in the UFC belt about 3 weeks ago, and before and I caught it. I don't know if anybody else did. He was fighting Justin Gaethje. He said, "Hey, I'm going to submit Justin Gaethje. I'm going to get him in a nice little lock hold, and when I get him in his hold, he's going to submit. He's going to tap out just like I want him to." And he said it, and I'm sure I have to double check if he does Psycho-Cybernetics, but he said it, and exactly how he said he was going to do it, he did it exactly the same way when it came down to it. He got him into his little lock. He held him. He said, "All right, tap out. It's time." And he goes, tapped out, won his event. So, I mean, it almost sounds like it's so easy that, like, that doesn't even make sense. It's so easy that doesn't make sense. Why would people instantly doubt it? Because it just seems too easy to do, right?
That's the thing. Because of something like that, you already set yourself up for a closed door. I wouldn't want to say failure, because we appreciate failure here, because failure, like you said, is a teacher. So we don't ever want to downplay failure, but that you've already closed the door on a mechanism, a a algorithm that would potentially set you up for success. I love the examples you gave, Adler, because there's one that sticks out to me, and I'm sure you've heard. They've done a lot of studies on this. It's actually really interesting. I watched a clip. They did a sitting marathon. I know it sounds ridiculous, but they had a group of men and women of all backgrounds. It was awesome. That came here or they sat down in a room, and they hooked them up to all these little neuron thingamajigs, right? The brain, especially, in their bodies and their legs. So they used the arms, the legs, and the mind. And some of them were on the body, mostly on the body parts that you use for running.
Yep.
Well, these men and women were running up here. It was phenomenal to watch this study being done, because they saw that these men and women were running the race mentally, because they were tracking it on a machine. They were watching the wavelengths and the way that the brain was functioning. These men and women were running the marathon in the mind. They saw the muscle movements in the body, the contractions that the muscles would have been making while in the run. They noticed the different heart rates for when they were running the race, the elevation change. They noticed the heart rate would go up, the breathing would go up. It's amazing to think that we can apply this algorithm, not necessarily just with the sports department, but with the life department, the financial department, the goal department, the relationship department, every department that we have as human beings, because we're not perfect. We struggle, we fail. Again, we welcome failure, which is a little different. So today we talk about Cybernetics. We attach that on with the law of attraction. And I want people to walk away, and I'm sure you do too. That's what we do here. We want you guys to walk away knowing that when you have the image in mind, okay, you need Cybernetics included with the law of attraction to see the results that you want. Success between Adler and I are different, but we understand the algorithm. That's the beautiful thing about the algorithm. Everybody can use the algorithm to learn to drive a car, but not everyone's going to drive a Volkswagen or a Honda or a Hyundai or a Tesla. But everybody learned a consistent algorithm to help them get the knowledge to learn how to drive a car. Not everybody drives the car the same either. As I've famously have said with Adler in the car, I drive like a German. And Adler's not a huge fan of that. Most people are not a huge fan of that, but that's okay. The point is, I still drive safe. I still know how to drive, but I drive in my own unique way. Life and success is the same exact way. It is a discipline. It is a mindset. We always say that. It's a mindset, right? Because it is. It's that Cybernetics. It's creating that image. Where do I want to be? Where was this podcast developed from? You think this just came out of a plant or a nut that fell off a tree? No. This podcast developed because we had said it. I remember we were sitting in Starbucks. I say it all the time. We were sitting in Starbucks and said, Adler, let's do a podcast.
Yep.
But we were both on our own channel. We were both channeling our own energy as far as you had 24 hours a day. I had one motion, this thing, and this thing. Everybody knows that. Finn has ideas. But this right here was an idea that we both channeled from two different directions and said, we're going to make it happen. And a year later, here we are. We've been doing this for a whole year. So it's actually been about 2.5 years since we came up with that idea. So Cybernetics is not just speaking it or just doing it. It's setting the image, seeing where you want to be and being detailed, whether it's with your relationship, whether it's with your finances.
The best way to describe it is imagination, or the meditation, right? It's kind of having this paintbrush, this canvas, and when you're thinking about the goal that you want to accomplish, you're being as detailed as possible, creating like this vivid but beautiful mental image. And once you complete that mental image, you hold on to that image and you try to make it an image that only you can see from the inside looking, from the inside out. And then holding on to it for long enough and manifesting it in a way that soon that mental image becomes an external view of who you actually are.
Absolutely. Adler, this has been great. It's motivating.
I definitely say, if you haven't, I know you haven't got a chance to read it, but I'd say definitely, it's definitely worth it.
I'm going to get it. As a matter of fact, just for accountability, I'm going to get the book and I'm going to post a picture on a social media or Instagram, whatever the heck we call it, with me in the book. And I will leave a review. I will let people know what I think, bits and pieces that I find very interesting, because I'm sure this book will change those that read this book. Obviously, it helped you.
There's also an audio book too that's available in case, like, if you just don't have enough time to read, you just want to just do it while you're in your car. It's available as well.
That's right. Well, guys, we are super thrilled to be back. This season, like I said, happy November. Happy No Shave Your Beard November.
Yes, mine
listen,
is.
Listen, hey, I almost shaved on the 31st of October. I will be honest. I was still going through my transition. COVID was kind of like having me sit there and go, man, I can't. I really have to get a haircut today because I kind of was getting shaggy due to COVID. I'm not blaming COVID. I just didn't want to go out and infect anybody. Truth be told, I'm super glad that I'm back. I also want to shout out to everybody who reached out to me. I wasn't really trying to post anything on social media. I did make I did a live, just kind of keep people up to date. One time for the record. But I am doing great, and I do want to say thank you to everybody. Adler, thank you so much for being you, man. I appreciate you every single day. It was something that, I would never wish upon anybody.
No.
I definitely will say, being in bed, hurting, in pain, and just laying there, it wasn't just that I was laying there. I was resting a lot. I'm just grateful for all the prayers and all the shout-outs from everybody, and, it's definitely going to be weird for a couple months. Not being able to smell or taste, because I really can't. No. So coffee in the mornings are going to be weird, and that's okay. But I do want to say thank you, Adler, for being super supportive and being right here with me on the show. We are powering through. Let's push through 2020. Let's finish this year off strong. Regardless of the results of the election, regardless of who will be our president, regardless of the level of hate or despair, whatever the heck, all these negative things and positive things, let's put it aside. Let's finish strong. Let's focus, because I know that a lot of people out there are probably a little disappointed, upset, and that's okay. We just have to continue to love, continue to reach out, continue to raise our voices in the right way, in the right manner, to continue to do what we were created to do on this earth. And that is to love, to succeed, and to ultimately embrace every single one of each other, ourselves, and go out there and be the impact that you want to be. Mahatma Gandhi once said, be the change you want to see in the world. And that's a very big statement, because it really is true. Obviously, we both have come from a walk of life that, we both kind of were just trying to question ourselves, figure out where we're going. And here we are now, still imperfect, but helping people understand they can still be the best version of themselves. So, with that being said, Adler, where can our fam find us if this is their first time? How can they find us? Where can they follow us? What are our platforms that we can be listening to this podcast?
All right. So platforms, we are on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can get in touch with us on Instagram at The Best You Nation. You can get in touch with me at 24 Hours in a Day. You can get in touch with Finn at Stephen Finn Foster. you can pretty much get in touch with us at any point in time. You can
send us a message, direct message us,
DM, whatever the case may be. We're always available.
That's right. So once again, guys, we're back, hot, ready.
Back like we never left.
Back like we never left. And don't forget to click on our faces, because that's really important. Go click on our faces. I missed that, and I'm glad we're bringing it back. So go click on our faces. Enjoy your week. Stay motivated. And start to use the Cybernetics.